A quiet kitchen. A woman in her late 60s stands by the sink, wiping down the counter for the third time that day. Behind her, her husband watches TV. The house is calm. No shouting. No drama. Just silence. Not the peaceful kind. The kind that grows when words no longer matter. She doesn't yell anymore. She doesn't ask for help. She doesn't expect him to notice. Because the truth is, she's tired. Not just physically. Tired of carrying everything. Of feeling alone in a life she's not supposed to be alone in. Let's say what so many older women won't say out loud. I still care about my husband, but something in me is gone. This video isn't about blaming men. And it's not about the end of love. It's about a slow shift that happens in many marriages after 60. Not suddenly, not violently, but quietly. Some call it resentment. Some call it growing apart. But most women describe it as something harder to define. I just don't feel anything anymore. This isn't because women change too much. It's because they keep changing, while no one else does. They adapt. They adjust. They carry the details no one sees, and when they ask for help, they're either ignored or told they're nagging. So eventually, they stop asking. In this video, we'll explore 6 deeply practical reasons why so many older women quietly disconnect from their husbands, and why it's not because they don't love them. Speech balloon. You'll learn why emotional burnout, not bitterness, is at the root. How women become project managers of their homes, even in retirement. Why she feels more like a nurse than a partner. What she secretly wishes her husband would say. And most importantly, how to begin rebuilding respect, attention, and closeness again. This isn't just about women. This is about couples who spent decades together and suddenly realize they're living 2 separate lives under one roof. And if you're a man watching this might be hard to hear. But if you stay with me, it might just save your relationship, because she doesn't want you to be perfect. She just wants you to show up, not with flowers, but with attention, not with promises, but with presence. Let's begin with the first quiet force behind this growing distance, and why women feel like retirement never came for them. When Joe retired at 65, he thought life would finally slow down. More golf, more naps, less pressure, and for him, it did. But for Linda, his wife of 42 years, nothing really changed. She still made the grocery list. She still remembered the medications. She still cleaned up after meals and reminded him of birthdays, grandkids' visits, doctor appointments, and bills. She once said, half joking, he retired from his job. I just got promoted to household CEO without pay or days off. Let's talk about something most men never see, but most women feel every day. The invisible mental load. It's not about who takes out the trash. It's about who remembers that trash day is Tuesday. It's about who notices the fridge is empty. Who keeps track of what the doctor said 3 months ago? Who plans meals, books appointments, double-checks the insurance, calls the grandkids, and still has the energy to ask, "Did you take your pills today?" This kind of cognitive labor isn't dramatic. It's not loud, but it's exhausting. And after decades, it wears down even the most patient, loving woman. Here's what happens after 60. He retires from structure. She stays in it, alone. Now he's home all day, but the weight of keeping life running still falls on her. Not because he's cruel, but because she's always been the one to handle it. So he assumes she's fine. And here's the deeper truth. Women don't resent the work. They resent that it's taken for granted. They resent that the mental effort, the planning, organizing, remembering, is invisible. Let's imagine a typical day. She wakes up thinking about 10 different things. Ziwe. He wakes up and asks, "What's for breakfast?" She reminds him of the dentist. He says, "Oh, right," and goes back to his crossword. He manages meals, medicine, errands, cleaning, family calls. Homem. He takes a nap. Forky takes a nap. By the end of the day, she's not angry. She's empty. This is how resentment grows. Not from shouting, but from the accumulation of being unacknowledged and the cruel irony. She's probably not even telling him, because it feels like one more thing to manage. So, what can be done? Checkmark, if you're a man watching this. Start by asking, what do you think about all day that I don't notice? Offer without being asked. Want me to handle dinner tonight entirely? Learn to notice the invisible things she manages. Don't help. Take ownership. Checkmark. If you're a woman watching this, you're not crazy for feeling this way. You're not selfish for needing rest. And you're not alone. Millions of women feel this exact invisible weight. This is not about division of labor. It's about emotional fairness. About being seen. Because even love grows tired if it's never recognized. And when a woman feels like her brain has been in emergency mode for 40 years, she doesn't stop loving her husband. She just stops having the capacity to connect. Mary has been married for 48 years. She remembers birthdays, checks in on the grandkids, keeps up with family drama, and makes sure no one feels left out. When her husband's brother had surgery, she was the one who called. When their adult son lost his job, she sent a care package. When her husband seemed quiet and distant, she asked, "Are you okay?" But when she had a quiet breakdown last winter, no one noticed. Here's the quietest, heaviest load many older women carry: the emotional weight of the relationship. She tracks moods. She initiates hard conversations. She smooths tension at family events. She's the therapist, the translator, the emotional glue. And over time, she becomes tired of always being the only one trying to hold it all together. This kind of labor has a name: emotional labor. And it's real. It's the effort to stay connected, resolve unspoken conflict, maintain warmth in the relationship, remember who needs what, when, and how. It's not measured in hours, but in emotional depletion. Here's how it plays out. He's silent during dinner. She asks what's wrong. He brushes her off. She tries again. He explodes or shuts down. She manages his emotions while burying her own. Sound familiar? She's not being dramatic. She's being responsible for everything. And one day, she wakes up and thinks, "No one ever asks how I feel. Why does this lead to resentment?" Because for decades, she's been told, "You're better at emotions. You're just more intuitive. You're the glue." But glue cracks too. And when no one else tries to connect, she starts wondering, why am I the only one trying? It's not that she wants him to cry or become a poet. She just wants him to notice, respond, care, to ask, "What's been on your mind lately?" To say, "I'm proud of how you handled that." To look at her like she matters, even when nothing's wrong. Let's be clear. Most women over 60 aren't expecting grand gestures. They're just tired of carrying the emotional temperature of the entire relationship alone. Here's what can help change this. Checkmark men. Practice asking one question a day that isn't about logistics. When she expresses emotion, don't fix. Just listen. Share your inner life too, even awkwardly. It builds trust. Stop assuming she's fine just because she's functioning. Checkmark women. You're not too sensitive. You've just been carrying the emotional map for too long. You're allowed to expect emotional support, not just practical help. You don't have to be the relationship manager forever. Because when a woman feels unseen emotionally, she doesn't explode. She fades. And the most tragic part? No one notices until it's too late. Elaine is 72. Her husband had knee surgery 2 years ago. She cooked, cleaned, managed medications, handled paperwork. She was proud to care for him. That's what love does. But months passed. His mobility returned. His energy came back. And yet, he never really stepped back in. Now, 2 years later, she still prepares his plate, still reminds him to hydrate, still handles the pharmacy, still carries the role of caretaker. She doesn't say anything. But inside, something has shifted. I married a partner. I became a nurse. Let's talk about something many couples face, but few ever name: the wife-caretaker shift, and how it quietly suffocates intimacy. At some point, maybe after illness, retirement, or aging changes, the woman starts doing everything for the man. Not just meals or laundry, but health decisions, medications, reminders, check-ins, scheduling, driving, lifting, guiding, and while she might do it lovingly at first, over time, something starts to fade. The flirtation, the laughter, the spark, the mutuality, because she's no longer a partner. She's in charge of his well-being. And when you're constantly responsible for someone, it's hard to feel close to them. This doesn't mean she's cold or bitter. It means she's stuck in a role she didn't choose, but couldn't avoid. And here's the real pain. She knows he doesn't mean to take her for granted, but he does. Because he stops asking how she's doing, accepts her support without question, relies on her memory instead of his own, thinks she's fine because she keeps going. But she's not fine. She's functioning. There's a difference. Why does this destroy intimacy? Because romantic energy requires balance, touch, affection, trust. They all rely on feeling seen, chosen, equal. But when she's the one doing everything, day after day, touch begins to feel like a task. Kisses feel like obligation. And over time, love becomes a quiet form of duty. Elaine once said, "I still love him, but I don't want to mother him. I want to be his wife. I want to feel like a woman again." So what can be done? Checkmark. If you're a man watching this, ask yourself, have I let her become my caregiver without realizing it? Find ways to take responsibility, even small ones. Take back some daily tasks without being asked. Tell her, "I see everything you do, and I don't want to take it for granted." Checkmark. If you're a woman watching this, your exhaustion is not weakness. It's wisdom. You're allowed to say, "I need help." And you're allowed to want a relationship built on love, not obligation. Because when she stops feeling like a partner, she starts pulling away, not to punish, but to protect her spirit. Have you ever felt like your role in the relationship changed and you never got to vote on it? Type "I want balance" in the comments if you're ready to feel like a partner again, not just a helper. Diane is 69. In the past few years, she started painting again, joined a walking club, took an online course in Italian. She even began writing short stories at night. Her husband, Bill, is 72. He spends most days in front of the TV. Same chair, same routine. Same complaints about how things used to be. Diane still makes him tea, still folds his clothes, still checks in. But inside, something is shifting. It's like I'm married to someone who gave up, and I'm still trying to live. Let's talk about one of the most painful and least discussed causes of distance in older couples. When one person keeps growing and the other stays still. This isn't about hobbies or energy levels. It's about spirit, curiosity, engagement with life. Here's what many women quietly feel. They're still becoming, still discovering, still reflecting, still open to change, learning, lightness. But their husband? He stopped. He retired and retreated. He doesn't want to try new things, doesn't want to meet new people, doesn't ask questions, read, or reach. and she starts wondering, where did his spark go? Why do I feel more alone now than when we were busy? If I'm growing forward and he's staying still, are we even on the same path anymore? This feeling isn't about superiority. It's about longing. Longing to grow together, not apart. Here's the hidden truth. Growth isn't about big achievements. It's about effort. About still being curious about the world and about each other. When a man stops trying, stops asking how she's changed, stops noticing what lights her up, stops putting effort into conversation, connection, or even grooming, it doesn't feel stable. It feels like emotional abandonment. Diane doesn't want a perfect husband. She just wants a present one. Someone who asks, tell me about that painting. What's something you've always wanted to try? Can I come with you this time? Not to fix anything, just to join her on the journey. So what can be done? Checkmark for men. Try one new thing this month. For yourself or together. Ask your wife about something she's excited about. Make the effort to show interest, not because you have to, but because you still can. Say, I want to grow with you, not fall behind you. Checkmark for women. Keep growing. Don't dim your light to match his shadow. Invite him in. Gently, without judgment. But if he won't try, know that your life still matters. Because when one partner shuts down emotionally, mentally, spiritually, the other begins to drift. And that's not selfish. That's survival. Let's pause for a moment and ask the question that rarely gets spoken out loud. What do older women really want from their husbands? Now, after all these years, it's not diamonds, not grand romantic gestures, not even flowers on anniversaries. It's much simpler, but far more important. They want to be seen, to be heard, to be met emotionally, not managed logistically, to be appreciated not just for what they do, but for who they are. After 30, 40, or 50 years together, she doesn't need a new man. She needs the man she married to look at her like he still sees her. Many older women stop asking for this. Why? Because they're afraid of the same answers they've heard for years. I'm just not like that. You're too sensitive. Why are you making a big deal? We're too old for that now. So instead, they go quiet. They stop asking. They shrink their needs. And resentment grows, not out of anger, but out of emotional starvation. Here's what women have said in their own words. Speaking head, I don't want to be your to-do list. I want to be your person again. Speaking head, I want you to notice when I'm struggling without me having to spell it out. Speaking head, I want to feel like more than the background character in your retirement story. And this one. Speaking head, sometimes I just want you to reach for my hand without needing a reason. This isn't about perfection. It's about presence. It's about small, daily moments of attention. Choosing to lean in. Instead of zoning out. Offering softness, not solutions. Saying, thank you, and meaning it. Because here's the truth most men never hear. If you want her to open again, you have to make her feel safe again. Safe to feel, safe to speak, safe to be vulnerable without being dismissed. So what can you do today? Checkmark. Ask her, have I been showing up for you emotionally? Checkmark. Reflect. When was the last time I really looked at her? Checkmark. Say, not once, but often, you matter to me. Checkmark. Relearn the art of small connection. Touch her hand. Remember her story. Ask her opinion. Checkmark. And most of all, don't wait until she's gone to appreciate what was right in front of you. Because most women don't walk away out of hate. They walk away, emotionally or physically, when they've run out of hope that anything will change. But if you're watching this, change is still possible. She doesn't need a new man. Sayachami Toma Bira. She needs the man who's willing to begin again. Let's return to that kitchen. The woman at the counter, the man in the chair. Nothing explosive, nothing dramatic, just a silence that's lasted too long. She didn't fall out of love in one moment. She faded, moment by moment. Every time she felt unseen, unheard, unheld. A woman's heart doesn't close overnight. It closes slowly, after years of managing everything alone, after too many dinners eaten in silence, after asking for attention one too many times, and getting none. And when it finally closes, it doesn't slam. It just stops trying. But here's the most important thing. If you notice the silence now, you can still change the ending, because most women don't want to leave. They want to be met. They want to be chosen again, not just once, decades ago, but now. They want a man who says, I haven't been listening, but I want to now. I didn't see how much you carry, but I do now. I still love you, and I'm ready to show it better. If you're a man watching this, maybe you're feeling heavy, maybe defensive, maybe guilty. That's okay. It means you care. But guilt won't heal your relationship. Presence will. And if you're a woman watching this, you're not crazy. You're not bitter. You're not alone. You're just tired of feeling like the only one who still shows up. You deserve more than just being appreciated. You deserve to feel wanted, valued, and chosen. Again, speech balloon. So let me ask you, what part of this message felt true for you? Down finger, leave a comment. Let's bring this conversation into the light. You are not alone, and you are not done growing. Right finger. And if this message touched you, subscribe to Speech Balloon Longevity Talks Herb for more real, respectful conversations about relationships, aging, and emotional renewal after 60. Because love doesn't die in marriage. It simply waits to be nurtured again.